Hey everybody, how are you? Good to see you. Hope everyone is doing well. Happy Saturday. Happy start to the weekend. We made it to Saturday, guys. So, what does your weekend hold in store for you? Let me know. Let me know what you're doing this weekend. Hopefully, you're doing something data science related. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But either way, I hope the best for you. I hope that you're safe. I hope that your family's safe. Hope that you're doing well. So, really grateful that we get another day together. Excuse me, to sit and talk about data science, to live in the global community of data scientists. Just really happy that we're able to spend that time together. You know, now that I'm looking at myself on camera, I think I got a little bit too much sun yesterday, huh? Wow. I think I maybe stayed in the sun a little bit too long. Um, Real quickly, I'm seeing in the chat, YDB, happy to see the positive vibe. Yeah, you know, it's important to stay positive, right? It's important to be positive and try to just have a positive outlook. So thank you for saying that. Yeah, you know, I'm glad that we can all start off on a positive note. Um, but you know, for those of you that are new, because I am still, you know, growing, I like to start off with my global roll call. That's where I ask people to introduce themselves. And, you know, please let me know your city, state, province, country, you know, just whatever you're comfortable sharing, because that way it's an easy way for you to participate. It's an easy way to build the community and see the global nature of data science. And personally, I love seeing where all the people are from. I love traveling. I've been fortunate to go to a lot of countries. So it's nice to see the global community. Once we, you know, as you guys fill up my chat with a global roll call, I already see some names in there. Thank you so much. I like to give an opening note, and then that way, you know, you guys have time to fill up my chat, and then I'll look at the chat, and then I'll take your questions. You know, that's the fun part for me. I love taking your questions. If you guys have questions about your career, your projects, you know, whatever you'd like, your studies, I'm here for you guys. You know, I walk in here with no agenda. Just let you guys, you know, set the agenda based on what you want to talk about. So again, fill up my chat. Let me know your city, state, province, country. You know, just let us know where you're from, and you know, go from there. So for today's opening note, I want to talk about GitHub, and I'm going to do some more extended content on GitHub. But guys, what's the obsession with GitHub? Why is everyone so obsessed with GitHub? Who did this to you? Who did this? Give me their names. Who did this to you guys? I did a piece of content last night about jobs, and and when I do that, I get a lot of messages. I get a lot of comments. I get a lot of people shaking their fist at me. You know, people are obsessed with GitHub. They take it personally. Like their GitHub is their little treasure chest that they must protect. Guys, that's not the case. And quite frankly, if I'm being honest, in today's modern times, when you hold on to GitHub like that, kind of makes you look out of touch. Kind of makes you look out of touch, like you're not paying attention. So, couple things that concern me about that. And yesterday when I posted, I made a post yesterday about jobs. Got a ton of likes overnight. Like, I was surprised how much attention it got. I also talked about metagames, right? And a lot of people were asking me about metagames, and that's a very difficult topic to explain. So what I'm going to do is, as I go along, I'm going to try to look for opportunities to explain to you guys, okay? So one of the basics of understanding metagames is understanding something known as perspective. Perspective is not how you see things, it's how other people see things, right? So the metagame to that is, what are you trying to show with your GitHub? Like, really, like, what's the goal there? Like, what are you trying to convey? What's the message you're giving? That you know how to generate some green squares on a screen? A little map of green squares encapsulates who you are? I'd be embarrassed if that was the case, right? But I'm a good coder. No, you're not. ChatGPT is a good coder. So when you're pushing your GitHub, you're ignorant to the fact that most coding tasks are basically trivial now. But ChatGPT sucks. No, it doesn't. And either way, it's going to improve. Right? I mean, that means that you don't understand LLMs because you don't understand how quickly they're going to improve. Right? It's like, what is the message you're trying to convey? Green squares don't encapsulate who you are as a person. Your code sucks, right? Because ChatGPT is better than you. I mean, and let's face it, how did you get your code anyways? You looked it up on Stack Overflow. We all do that, right? So you're not like showing off. Like, you know, as I've said before, you're not going to outcode the world, right? And 3, you don't understand where like we're all headed with AI, with the rise of AI, right? Like it shows your ignorance. Like, you know, because if you attend my Sunday sessions, you know, I say, you know, ChatGPT is my new employee and it's pretty darn good at coding. And if it makes mistakes, that's okay. It made a mistake in 10 minutes instead of the 10 days it's going to take you to come up with the same code. Right? Like it's still a win. So where are you in that? What's the message you're conveying in that? Right? Like as a manager, I'm still winning with ChatGPT. So like, why are you trying to impress me with your code? And then the next thing is, you know, if we're being honest with each other, your code probably, not just your code, but your project idea probably stinks. How much of your GitHub started by copying another person's code base? Let's be honest. Be honest. How many of the projects on your GitHub that you're showing off actually started by you copying another code base? Right? So, and then the last thing you also want to consider is that when you do that, again, what message are you trying to convey? And then another part of that metagame is who are you conveying it to? Aren't you making the assumption that your manager is a technical person? Guess what? They're not always technical. They're not. A lot are. You are going to have technical managers. And most of your initial rounds might be technical people. But not all of them. You know, for me, depending on what level I was hiring, you know, people have to go through 4 to 6 rounds of interviews, and maybe only 2 of those people are technical. The other 4 couldn't possibly care less about your GitHub. They don't care, they don't understand it, they don't want to hear it. You start talking about your GitHub, you're going to be talking a foreign language to them. Right? So when you do that, you're playing a poor metagame. Like you're not understanding the metagame. You know, and as I said before, I've done other content on this. You know, I may be given like 100 resumes at a time. I'm not gonna. I simply do not have the time to look at everybody's GitHub. And then what? I'm going to look at a bunch of green boxes and say, oh, wow, this guy's fantastic. Let's call him. Like how are you expecting somebody to draw that conclusion? And besides, it's no secret that those charts can be manipulated, right? I mean, there's known ways to do that. So who cares? So please, you know, let's slow down on this obsession with GitHub. You most likely suck at coding or can't beat ChatGPT at it. You most likely started with a copy of another code base, right? I mean, you're the one doing the pull request, not accepting the pull requests, right? So, let's slow down with the excitement on GitHub. You're not going to outcode the world. There's so many more things that encapsulate you as a person, not just a coder, but as a person that you should be focusing on. When you do that, you have a better display of your skills. You have something that's more likely to be checked because it tells me more about you, and you have something that's more broadly consumable because everyone can understand an article, right? You don't have to be a technical person to understand somebody's LinkedIn article. So when you do that, now you're playing the metagame, right? Otherwise, in the other scenario, the metagame's playing you because you just don't know what you're doing. Okay? So keep that in mind. But that's today's opening minute. All right, guys. So again, if you're just joining us, we ask people to introduce themselves. Let us know your city, state, country, province. And we'll go from there. Okay? Because I know some of you are new. I'm growing 1,000 users a day on YouTube. A couple dozen now on Instagram. But yeah, so if you guys want to introduce yourselves, really appreciate that. All right, Sam, our good friend Sam is the first one to join us today. Hey, hello again, Dennis. It's a pleasure hearing your videos. Well, thank you, Sam. Hope you're doing well out there in Mexico. Fatima, our good friend Fatima from Meekness says, hey, sir. Hey, Fatima, how are you? I'm getting a lot more followers specifically from Meekness. I think I had a couple this week in my Instagram. So apparently Meekness is the place to be. Sam, let us know where you're from, okay? YDV, let us know where you're from. But yeah, we're keeping a positive eye. Rex, our good friend from New York City. Good morning, everyone. Rex from New York City. Hope you're doing well out there, Rex. Let us know how you're doing. Sam says, happy Saturday, everyone. Now make it and enjoy the video. Yeah, Sam, welcome. I think you're a pretty consistent attendee during the weekend, so I'm glad you're here. Sam, let us know where you're from, okay? Sam says, good topic, GitHub. You know what, Sam? I like to just kind of come up with like the opening minute just as whatever I think. And like I said, last night I did make a posting, got a lot of attention overnight. And every time I talk about jobs and portfolios and projects, the GitHub people come out and say, I love my GitHub. Don't you talk bad about my GitHub. It's just silly. Come on, guys. You're so much better than that. Osama says, hello, sir. Hey, Osama, how are you? I think you're from Morocco. Remind me, Osama. Hello, sir. Yassine from Tangier, Morocco. Yassine, my good friend Yassine, my wonderful supporter Yassine. I hope you're doing well, my friend. Suvik, let us know where we're from. Let us know where you're from. We always ask people to introduce themselves, please. Yeah, Sam, I do remember you're from Mexico, so welcome. I think you said the smallest province in Mexico. Tiaquan? I think is what you said. So glad you're here. Bisma, our friend from Pakistan, I think. Hello, glad to be here. And what's the topic today? Bisma, you should know already. This is not your first rodeo, baby. We talk about whatever comes up, right? I mean, I'm talking about GitHub for my opening note because it was something that came up yesterday. But, just whatever you guys want to talk about. Put a question in the chat and we'll go from there, right? I come in with no agenda, right? I'm a pretty smart guy. I have a lot of experience, so I can basically talk about any topic you guys want, right? I've been the junior analyst and I've been the chief data scientist. So anything you guys want to talk about, I'm here. Bisma says, looking forward to Keras versus Bisma, I can't make out the last part of your message. Is that in Pakistani? I'm sorry, I don't know the last part of your message. Yeah, Bisma, can you please rewrite that so I can understand it? Karis versus. I can't make that out. Can you please rewrite that? I'd appreciate that. Suvik, let us know where you're from. Okay, we always ask people to introduce themselves. Leo, our good friend Leo says, good morning, everyone. I know Leo's also looking forward to tomorrow. Leo, glad to see you here. Thanks for always stopping by. Rex, I'm gonna come back to your question. Let me get all the introductions out of the way here. Landry, so good to see you, our man in Belgium. How are you, my friend? I think you're also one of our weekend attendees, which I appreciate. You know, I guess people just have more time on the weekends, right? And Saturday streams are fun. My analytics show that Saturday, Friday nights into Saturdays, my viewership definitely goes up, right? So I think it's just more convenient. So Landry, good to see you. Hello from Brussels, Belgium. Dennis, when I build a side project for an internship, should I be worried about someone coming up to rip my work on GitHub? Landry, let me come back to that. Okay? I'm gonna come back to that. Deepak, we ask people to introduce themselves, to add some professionalism. It's also important for how you introduce yourself, how you carry yourself. So please introduce yourself, and then I'll come back to your questions. Hamza says, hello, my friend. I'm from Morocco too. Hey, Hamza, I don't think this is your first time here. I think you've been here before, so welcome. Yeah, we have at least 4 people now from Morocco. I'm telling you guys, I'm huge in Morocco. No idea why. Leo says, there we go. Let the drama begin. Drama? What drama? Leo's gone crazy. Haha, I think it's the same language used for... Is that Moroccan? What is that? Alright guys, listen. English only, please, okay? We have people in the chat writing in Pakistani. We have people in the chat writing in Moroccan. English only, please. I don't know these words. I don't know these words, guys. Help me out, please. Nina, welcome from Karnataka, India. I've never heard of Karnataka. So is that north, south, east, west? Orient me a little bit for where is that? Yeah, and please, guys, just English only, guys. Yeah, Leo, I'm sorry. Could you please rewrite that? Yeah, guys, these I'm not always good with foreign words. I try my best, I try to, sound things out, but I'm not good with foreign words, guys. Casual Economist, our man in Minneapolis says, good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you too, Casual Economist. Hope that you're doing well. Let us know how things are out there in Minneapolis. I'm pretty sure you said you're a working professional in the field. So let us know how things are going. And again, if you're just joining us, please let us know your city, state, country, province. Just let us know where you're from, easy way to participate. I also forgot to mention in my opening that yesterday I did speak to my parents. My parents are doing fantastic. They're getting busy with their, they're both retired. My parents are quite elderly, but they're both retired. They're both doing their activities at home. And my dad's birthday's coming up. So I'm going to, I made some plans to go out and see them in LA. Am I going to stream from LA? Am I going to do something? I don't know. I don't know what that schedule looks like. It's going to be sometime in November, late November, because it's also Thanksgiving here in the US, which is a pretty big holiday. Yeah, so I'm going to go out there and spend some time with them. But, they're doing well. They're elderly, but they're very active. They still drive and they still have their hobbies. And as I mentioned, they just got back from Europe. So yeah, but it was a good call of my parents yesterday. A says, hi, sir. I am Keyshawn from Surat. Nice. Welcome, Keyshawn. I think it might be your first time. So welcome. Welcome. Glad you're here. Nina says, South Indian. Okay, cool. Nina, welcome. I don't recognize your name, so I'm going to say it's your first time. So welcome. Thank you for joining the stream. Fatima says, ha ha ha. Fatima, come on. The comments coming out so quick. You got to reference what you're laughing at. You know, I don't know. By the time I get to read your comment, I've made like 4 jokes. Okay? So you got to be more specific. Manoj, our good friend Manoj. Good morning, sir, and all. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday to you too, Manoj. Hope you're doing well. Okay, guys. Everybody needs to read Lakshmi's message because Lakshmi understood the assignment. Okay? Hi, Dennis and all from Delhi. Really looking forward to Karis and only Karis. Lakshmi, you get viewer of the day. You see that, guys? Lakshmi understood the assignment. Thank you so much, Lakshmi. And welcome. Good to see you again, Lakshmi. I know that you also love the Sunday classes, so welcome. But yes, guys, please take a note, write this down, screenshot it. Lakshmi understood the assignment. Thank you so much, Lakshmi. Sam says, Dennis, I live in Tlaxcala. Okay, Tlaxcala, Mexico. Thank you for that, Sam. I knew it was something like that, but thanks for that. Okay, so I think I passed over Rex's question. Let me go back for that, and also Landry's question. So I think Rex is tying this back to the opening note. Dennis, are we going to be expected to be competent prompt engineers asking interview questions on prompting, specifically for data science? Be fair game while prompting. Will prompting be a more looked after skill than coding from scratch? Yes, absolutely. 100% Rex. Is it happening right now? No, because sometimes it takes managers a little bit of time to catch on, right? But I think that the smarter candidates will start doing that. They will start emphasizing their prompting skills in their resumes, in their interviews, right? And I think it's going to be a little bit of a moving target as far as like how you do that. But if I was a candidate and I wanted to kind of be ahead of the curve, I would start emphasizing the prompting skills and then you mention the prompting skills, but then you emphasize the speed at which you did it, which it should be faster, like significantly faster. And you should emphasize the architecture approach that you took to it, right? Like you should be saying, hey, I tackled this problem. I knew I was going to need 3 classes, but I also knew that it would take me a week to write them, but I used ChatGPT to write them in half a day. And here's how I came up with the need for 3 classes. And here's how I tied them all together. Because then that's your work, right? That's not ChatGPT's work. And so you still want to show that off, right? You still want to show that you were able to do the architecture. You saw the big picture. You knew what you needed. But I didn't bother with the coding because ChatGPT could do it in a 1/5 of the time that it would take me personally. You see, now you're displaying like 2 wins there, right? Now you're telling the hiring manager, yes, I did ChatGPT, but here's how you, Mr. Hiring Manager, win twice. Because you got it from me faster, and you're not just getting a data scientist, you're getting a data scientist architect, right? That's a pretty strong presentation for yourself, right? So yeah, Rex, absolutely. Absolutely. In the future, the managers will be more proactive about asking you. But like I said, some companies are slow to catch on, right? So right now, you can be kind of like pushing the issue by, framing it in the way that I just said. But yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So Landry asks, When I build a side project to get an internship, should I be worried about someone coming to rip my work on GitHub? Yeah, of course. I mean, it's an open system, right? I mean, and really GitHub is designed for collaboration, right? I mean, that's why GitHub exists. So two things. One, just to make sure, right? Because some people don't always understand this, right? So, not trying to insult anybody's intelligence, right? But just, for the kids in the back of the classroom, just so you guys realize it's not obligatory to use GitHub, right? Like, you guys realize there's a difference between Git and GitHub, right? You can always just use Git and just, keep it locally. There's no like requirement that you have to push out to GitHub. Just use Git, right? They're two completely different products. So yeah, you should be worried about it because that's like one of the main differences between Git and GitHub. That GitHub pushes your work out to the world, right? But you could be using Git. Like, you can develop Git skills without GitHub, right? So keep that in mind. And if you really are worried about this, then just get a private GitHub, right? I mean, I know it costs money. I can't remember what the latest fees are, but you can make a project private. You don't have to have it open if you don't want to. And then I think when you do a private one, I think it gives you the ability to have links that a visitor can view, so you can still put it on your resume. But as we just discussed, I mean, like, why are you doing that, Mr. Dinosaur? Don't do that, right? But yeah, I mean, if you are worried about it, and that's a valid worry, but just go private or don't use GitHub at all. Like, I use Git all the time, but I don't have to push it out. I just use Git as the tool that it is. So yeah, it's a valid concern. It's what GitHub was designed to do. To be something where, it's an open source contribution tool. You can't do that unless you let people copy the code bases. So I hope that answers your question, Landry. But I think there's ways around it. Good question. Rex says at Lakshmi, awesome. Lakshmi understood the assignment. Viewer of the day, guys, is Lakshmi. Leo says, yeah, welcome to the data science stream, data stand-up comedy. Yeah, I have my moments. Michael, our good friend Michael from Benin City. Wait, no, I think you said you're in Lagos last. So Michael, I'm glad to have you here. Hello, Sir Dennis and everyone. Hello to you too, Michael. Hope you're doing well out there in Nigeria. What's the weather like in Nigeria right now? Is it still warm? Because I know Nigeria is close to the equator, right? I think it's actually south of the equator. Yeah, I think it's south of the equator, right? So is it cold? Is it hot? Let us know, okay? Leo's giving really good advice here. Collaboration or stealing. Always keep private what you don't want to be stolen. Yeah, good advice. Yeah. I mean, GitHub is basically designed for people to copy your code base. It's one of the primary options up there, right? Because you really can't do like a pull request without having the base, the code base locally, right? So yeah. Yeah, Leo, good question. So Leo's asking, some companies like Snowflake don't allow their employees to use LLMs. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, Leo, that's also a good question. So a couple of thoughts on that. One, I think that this is quickly changing. And I think that it's inevitable, not that it might, but I think it's inevitable that this will change. because the speed at which LLMs can produce code is undeniable. Undeniable how much faster they are than humans. The companies can't ignore that. The time savings, which is to say the money savings, is just too significant, right? They have to. They have to. And when you see policy statements like this, the second thing is when you see policy statements like this, it usually means that they can't access public versions. But I guarantee you these companies have internal versions of their LLMs, right? Whether it's private cloud or on-premise or their own version of an LLM, their own fine-tuned version, right? So they have them. They just can't use the public version, right? And also to some degree, this is also just like a PR play, right? Because we're a secure company that takes data security seriously for you, our clients. That's all it is, right? It's just a PR play, But they use them. They use them internally, right? Or they'll use them, but they'll limit it to only like publicly available information, right? I've seen that done also, right? But they can't ignore the time savings. They do use them internally, and it's just a PR play. It's just a PR play to show that they're data security focused, or whatever BS they want to put out there, right? But they use them, and like I said, kind of like the similar advice that I gave to Rex that okay, yeah, the managers aren't catching on right now, but they will, because the time savings is inevitable. Is undeniable. Like, I mean, for those of you, including Leo and Rex, and the others of you in the chat, like think, that attend on Sundays. I mean, think about all the code we've done in those Sunday classes, and it's just a couple of prompts, right? I mean, yes, we've run into errors, but some of those errors have been with the frameworks themselves, right? Like the Julia errors that we saw last time was not a ChatGPT issue. That was a Julia issue, right? The dependencies and things like that. And in the 8 classes that we did on the book, only two of those classes did ChatGPT steer us wrong, right? We had 2 instances. One was a minor one. I think it was in the first class or the second class. And then we didn't have another one until like the second to last class, right? That's incredible, right? Or even this week with the gold data, we did not full EDA, but we did a pretty good amount of EDA in half an hour, right? After half an hour of some EDA prompts, we had a ton of questions that were leading to some really good ideas. That's incredible. That's a team working a week in some cases, right? On your your Jupyter notebook, trying to chart things out with Matplotlib. Like, we did it in a couple of prompts in 20 minutes, half an hour. Like, you can't deny that. You can't deny the benefits of that. So they say that, or Rex, you might not some managers are going to look at you funny now and say, why are you telling me about prompts? But it's just a learning curve. They'll catch on. But I mean, it's good that you bring that up, Leo, because I have seen that, right? The companies will say that, but it's inevitable. Do you believe in this conspiracy theory that models like ChatGPT can gather all data from private and big companies or personal to cause harm? Personal, yes. Private and big companies, I don't know about that. Because some companies, have a lot of really deep, really private data, right? Like if you think about like a hedge fund or like a private equity fund, and that's just one example. But like, those companies live and die by their proprietary research, right? Like a private equity fund is basically made by the quality of their research. So they have a lot of documents that aren't going anywhere. Or think about government agencies, right? Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not sure if I buy that the private and big companies are doing that. Or personal to cause some harm. The personal items, they are definitely collecting, right? I think people don't understand how many of their privacy rights they give up. But here's the thing, if we're going to talk, this could be a little bit fun. If we're going to talk conspiracy theories, I spoke conspiracy theories with my sister and her husband a few months back. So my sister is a stay-at-home mom, and my brother-in-law is he's basically a math nerd for the government. Like my brother-in-law has like a PhD in math, like super smart guy, right? Really knows math. Works for the government. That's all I've got to say about that. So we were talking about that movie. What was that movie? What was that movie? It was on Netflix. Yeah, guys, help me out here. It was on Netflix. It was the one about where there was like a cyber attack, and who was the lead in it? Was it Julia Roberts? And it was called something like the Day After Tomorrow or something like that. It was produced by the Obamas, right? Like the Obamas production company was behind it. What was that movie? You guys can tell me in the chat, but it was kind of popular, a couple months back. And it was the one where like all the Teslas went crazy, right? And like all the Teslas all the automated driving Teslas ended up in the same parking lot. I think it was called The Day After Tomorrow, or I could be mixing it up. But there was like this movie about there's a big cyber attack, the grid is down and all that stuff, right? So Leo, you're reminding me of that conversation because I had this conversation with my sister and her brother-in-law. So here's the thing. Here's the conspiracy that I believe, right? Because I think that I think everybody's concerned about some sort of cybersecurity attack and things like that, right? I think, and again, metagames, guys, right? Metagames would say that if we are attacked, or if there is something like ChatGPT, like a ChatGPT hack or something, it's not going to be something obvious. It's going to be subtle, like super subtle, right? Like it'll be like you won't even notice it, but it's like an attack, right? So the example that I came up with at the time when I was talking to my brother-in-law, my sister, was like, what if somebody hacked Google Maps? And every time you asked navigation from Google Maps, it gave you a route that was intentionally half an hour longer than the other one. Like every time you asked for navigation, Google said, oh no, that road is closed, take this road instead. Like, who checks, right? When Google Maps tells you to go, you go, right? We're all slaves to GPS. GPS tells you to turn left, you turn left, right? Like you don't go and check, oh, let me go verify that road is closed, right? So what if there's a hack like that? They hack Google Maps so that now everybody in the US is driving an extra 30 to 40 minutes on every single route they take. I think that's a pretty subtle attack, right? More expenses, more gas, more natural resources, blah, blah, blah. Like, why isn't that the next cyber attack? Along those same lines, we're all going to become, slaves to LLMs, right? GPT tools. Are you going to verify every time, an LLM tells you something? No. The LLM says turn left, you're going to turn left, right? So what if somebody hacks that? Lakshmi, yes, thank you so much. That is it. It's leave the world behind. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, leave the world behind. Yeah, thank you so much, Lakshmi. Lakshmi, you're just knocking them out today. Woo! Home run after home run today. Thank you, Lakshmi. Yeah, so I think it's going to be subtle like that, right? Like, why couldn't there be a ChatGPT hack like that? That it causes hallucinations that don't sound like hallucinations. Like, I'd be concerned about that. Like, how do you prevent that? And then even if you were to find it and detect it, how do you fix that? It's trained on NLP data. You can't just like unwind NLP data, right? So that's what I think, and that's what you reminded me of, Leo, in your comment. Like, are there dangers in hacks? Sure, but I think they're going to be. But I think that's the smart money. The meta game is to do them super subtle, super subtle. Like, why would they shut down the power grid, right? That's fighting words, as they say, right? Like, that's so overt that like why would you do that? I think it's going to be like 100 times more subtle than that. So that's what you reminded me of, and I think that is one of the dangers of LLMs. That you could have something like that. Like, the LLM could give you completely correct sounding answers that are subtly wrong. So let me know what you guys think about that. I mean, I know that's a little bit just slightly dark and a little bit conspiracy theorist, right? But like, again, like, why would they shut down the power grid? That's like asking for us to nuke somebody, right? That's not the metagame. That's not the smart play. But you guys can tell me. Leo says, yeah, most people can stop AI generated text. Imagine a subtle hallucination. Exactly, Leo. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, because what's the counterplay to that? You're going to go and verify every single thing that an LLM tells you, right? No. So yeah, I agree, Leo. These subtle hallucinations, right, that are going to sneak in to our everyday lives. I can totally see that happening. Nafish, thank you so much for introducing yourself. Nafish from Delhi, India. Nafish, I'm tempted to say it's your first time here, so welcome. I'm basically taking all questions, guys. So if you guys have questions, or if you're joining us late, please let us know where you're from and introduce yourself. It's an easy way to participate. So Michael says it's hot, warm, but it still rains sometimes. Oh, sorry to hear that, Michael, but hope you're safe out there in Lagos. Keyshawn says Snowden. No, Keyshawn, it wasn't the Snowden movie. I haven't seen that one yet, actually. And I just recently canceled my Netflix. I no longer have Netflix. I wish I had seen it. But no, it wasn't Snowden. Lakshmi was right. It's Leave the World Behind. I enjoyed it. It was an interesting movie. I hadn't seen it when my sister mentioned it. That's why I looked it up. But yeah, I mean, it was an interesting movie, but I don't think it's going to be that overt. I don't think it's going to be so overt where they're just going to, shut down the power grid or something else. It's going to be like 10 times more subtle than that, I think. But who knows? Who knows? A good data scientist is always open to being wrong, so I am happy to be wrong on that. I don't think I missed any other questions. So guys, if you have more questions, anything else you want to talk about, you just want to tell us about your weekend, what do you guys have going on this weekend? Let me know. For me, I'm going to finish the stream. I got to do some editing. I'm going to probably do some cleaning around the house. Maybe go to the pool again. You know, you guys like the weirdest things on Instagram. I posted a pool picture and you guys loved it. So now I should just hang out by the pool. Apparently you guys love those pictures. So I might go to the pool later if it's not too hot. But yeah, you know, we'll see what the rest of the day holds. But I got a lot of editing to do today. There's a couple of things I want to put together, especially from yesterday's stream. Yesterday's stream was fun, talking about level 1 help desk. I was actually tempted to call today's session, you know, level 1 help desk training, but I decided to focus on the GitHub side instead. But let me know what you guys have going on this weekend. Casual Economist says, I dated a gaslighter, so I'm okay if my LLM gaslights once in a while. Nice. Okay. Lots to unpack there. I'm not sure if that's a healthy thing, my friend. I'm okay if my LLM gaslights once in a while. It sounds like you've been conditioned. Are you okay? I don't know, guys. Is it just me, or does anybody else get concerned when these like these pop psychology things like make their way into the into like, you know, normal conversation? Like, what is gaslighting? Like, do people like truly understand that, or do they just like say it because they heard it on social media? Like, I'm not trying to pick on you, Casual Economist, and maybe you're much more versed on these topics than I am. But like, when somebody tells me that, like, you know, if I meet somebody new or, you know, whatever, when somebody tells me that, it kind of puts me off. Like, it immediately puts me on guard, right? Because like, are you just saying that, or do you really understand what you're talking about? You know, like, is anybody else concerned about that? Like when those words make it into the, you know, into the public, I guess you could say. Let me know in the comments. But I sometimes get concerned, like, because also, you know, some of these terms do have some very serious implications for people that suffer from conditions or things like that, right? So sometimes you kind of cheapen their journey if you don't really understand what you're talking about, right? So I don't know. I'm just joking. I actually hate the word gaslighting. I do too. I do too. It seems to me it's a little bit of like a victim mentality type of thing, right? You run away from your problems because, oh, they were gaslighting me. Well, no, maybe you're just a knucklehead. Right? Maybe you weren't being gaslighted. Maybe it's you. Who knows, right? So Yassine, are you on Instagram? You're usually on YouTube, so maybe you're on the move. Yassine says it could be happening right now. Yeah. See, and that's why I think it's likely to be that way, right? Because the subtlety says that it can go on for a long time because you wouldn't know it, right? You wouldn't know it for a very long time, right? And that's why I think the metagame is in another country doing it subtly, because you can have so much more staying power, right? Like, you know what kind of turned me on to this, guys? It wasn't that long ago, but say like sometime within the last 5 years, I read this article that was talking about North Korea and how most people, most of the world, completely underestimate the amount of resources that North Korea is putting into their cyber hacking capabilities. people don't realize how aggressively they're going after that. And the commentary was by like a national security defense specialist or something like. And they were talking like, look, if North Korea had $300 million, they could buy like 15 fighter jets, right? But then what? Like the radar and satellite detection and all that in the world is so good right now, so advanced, that you can't move more than like 2 or 3 airplanes without every single alarm around the world going off, right? Like you just can't. Like the moment North Korea takes 5 of their 15 airplanes and starts putting them in the air, like everybody knows, like within seconds, right? Every world leader's phone rings within seconds. And, that would come to a stop very quickly. So from their perspective, it's like a waste of money. Like why fight with planes? But you take those same $300 million and you put it into cyber hacking, and those resources, 1, that's a ton of resources. And 2, totally subtle, right? Like I know that there's been advancements in detecting cyber attacks and all that, from what I read. But you can do a lot more, launch a lot more attacks with cyber hacking than you can with the other way, because one is subtle, the other one's not, right? So that's kind of what got me started thinking about that. Like, where is the smart play? And the smart play is in subtlety. Like, are you not going to notice when the lights go out and the power grid goes out? Gee, I wonder who did that. Right? And that's not subtle. So that's what got me started thinking about that, right? So I'm not sure they're going to shut down the power grid. They'll just screw with your Google Maps. Or what if every single email you got now started coming in 10 minutes later than what it should have been? Is that a massive effect? Maybe, maybe not, but it's an effect, right? I mean, I'm sure there's use cases where if you could slow down emails by X number of minutes, it'd be critical, right? Like at the government level or something like that. But I mean, that's where I think it's where the smart money would be, right? Like things you would barely notice. Like, how do you know an email's late? You don't know when the other person sent it, right? Casual Economist says narcissistic is another one. Yeah, sure. Sure, I get that. But I do kind of believe that there has been an increase in narcissism. I mean, social media is not helping decrease narcissism, right? So, yeah. But I hear you on that. That's definitely like gone over into the pop psychology side of things. Leo says, will I talk about how this control has an influence on gold prices and Bitcoins? Soon you guys can read it. Which control are you referring to, Leo? How this control has an influence on gold prices and Bitcoin? Let me know what you're referring to, Leo. Because I might have a bit of insight for you on that. In fact, I'm going to very quickly see if I can find something. Or maybe I'll just have to wait until I have more time. But I might have a little bit of insight for you, Leo. Let me know what you mean about control. Because I know that people often talk about Bitcoin and gold. But yeah, Leo, if you want to share something, let me know and I might share some info. Okay, Leo says, my concerns are more when quantum computers become available. they can break shores in less than 30 minutes. I wish I was more versed on quantum computing, but my understanding is that the power consumption is still a concern, right? Isn't that still one of the concerns around quantum computing? That's really all I know. I don't want to comment more than that because, you know, again, I stay in my lane, guys. Quantum computing is not in my wheelhouse. But Leo, if you know more about that, you know, please go ahead and share it. Would love to hear more. I am ignorant on that. Oh, okay. Leo says the world control on countries like North Korea and Russia. Okay. So you think that has an influence on gold prices and Bitcoin? Okay. Okay. All right. So related to Michael's question, off topic, how's your trading going, Dennis? Yeah, thanks for asking. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's some things I keep private, but I do manage some of my own money. And again, I have worked as a financial advisor, but I'm not your financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. So Leo, if you're interested in that, I wish I could find it again, because I know it's on my machine somewhere. But and I'm not trying to give anybody advice, but if anybody wants to look this up, I'm just gonna point you guys in the right direction. You guys can decide what you want to do. The World Gold Council puts out an annual report about gold. And I read their report, I don't know, maybe like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that. And one of the most interesting things that they have in their report is they have found a correlation between the global money supply and the price of gold. Now, what that correlation is, I'm not going to tell you because I'm not giving financial advice. Has the global supply of money increased or decreased in the last 5 years? Let's just say since the pandemic? I'm not going to tell you because I'm not giving you financial advice. But if you can find those pieces of data, then you can make your own decision on whether gold is undervalued or overvalued right now. Because again, their research has found a correlation between the two. I'm not telling you if it's a positive correlation, a negative correlation, inverse correlation, all that stuff. Because I'm not giving financial advice. But if you were to look up those pieces of data, right? That's one of the research items that they focus on. Where is the money supply? Where is the global money supply? And where is the price of gold? And then they present their view on the correlation. And then you can decide, are governments printing money right now and kind of giving money away via stimuluses and stuff like that? Who can say, right? I'm not giving financial advice. But if you guys are really interested in that, that kind of, you know, got me thinking a little bit differently about gold. And then I also do options. I do some options trading, but you know, that's just stuff I keep to myself. But you know, overall, I think it's fun to look at reports like that. I think we had a lot of fun looking at the gold data this past week. But yeah, you know, it's applied data science, right? Like you should be able to understand correlations and you should be able to track down this type of data. But yeah, I mean, Leo, if you want to look that up, I think you'd find that interesting. But because again, it's one of the key pieces of data that they offer or that they've kind of banked on. Like it's one of the, what do you call it? Well, like one of the pillars of their research because they really believe in that correlation. So again, guys, not giving financial advice, but you guys are welcome to go find those pieces of data, do the research for yourself. But you know, this type of stuff is out there, right? You just gotta go out there, put in the legwork, find the data, and hey, all of you are smart people, right? All of you are in data science programs. You understand numbers, you understand coding, so apply it. Start using it for yourself, right? I mean, that's what I try to do as much as possible, right? That kind of changed my view on investing in gold, right? So it can change your view on a bunch of other things. But you know, start using the skills you have, guys. I mean, all of you are smart people, right? Well, except for the guy from yesterday. Except for the guy from yesterday who probably needs to go to work at help desk. But you know, minus that guy, all of you are smart. All of you are smart, right? I'm just kidding. I don't mean to pick on that guy, but if you weren't here yesterday, we had an interesting discussion on yesterday's stream. I don't mean to pick on that guy. But yeah, I mean, all of you are smart, so start applying it, right? Like, start actually using this stuff out there. The information's out there, you know. You just have to understand it. You guys with me on that? I mean, I know that today's discussion has been all over the place, and that's kind of cool because, you know, it's a Saturday, right? I got a lot of free historical data from Y Finance, good quality, just sharing. Yeah, and that's good, Leo, but sometimes you got to read the commentary too, right? Like, the commentaries helps. And also they have the charts, right? They have those charts that are beneficial. Casual Economist says, shots fires random guy. Hey, I'm gonna make a whole video on that guy. That's some of the editing I have to do later. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Data science ain't for everyone, okay? Lol, the guy from yesterday. Data science ain't for everyone, okay? You know, I used to have... I hope this doesn't sound bad, but I used to have this conversation with an ex-girlfriend from many years ago. And I can't remember the exact context that we were talking about, right? But, you know, we were kind of talking about how, like, you know, not everybody's made out for careers and, you know, certain things in life and things like that, right? And I remember I said something like, hey, when you go to Hawaii, do you want the drinks to be self-served or do you want somebody to bring you your drinks on the beach? Like, data science isn't for everyone. Like, what do you like, I'm sorry, but like, you know, like, do you want the drinks in Hawaii to be self-serve? Leo says he left. He left straight to therapy. I don't know about therapy, but he's probably not coming back. Yeah, I mean, I realize that this is probably not the greatest user growth strategy. But you know, there's another saying that I still use, and I use this with my corporate clients because I've seen this happen to me in corporate environments. Like, I love doing the content that I do, right? And I love helping you guys, and I've met so many good people, and I'm so happy to help a lot of you guys because I see the enthusiasm and all that. But there's a saying. Well, so what happened to me, and still happens to me every once in a while, is people come up to me, you know, especially like in a corporate environment, you know, like when I'm working. Oh, Dennis, I want to be just like you. I want to go into data science. I think what you're doing is great. I want to be a data scientist too. Yeah. But there's a saying from the fitness world. Everybody wants to look like a bodybuilder. Nobody wants to lift the heavy weights. Right? Everybody wants to have the muscles and be posing and have the, the V-shaped body. But you got to lift some heavy weights along the way, right? Like, you got to do it, right? So I've seen that. Like, I've had people who say, oh, come on, tutor me, let's do this. Turn me into data science. I want to work on your team. I want to do what you're doing. Okay, go read these 3 books. Crickets. Right? Like 0, nothing after that. Oh, wait, you want me to work for? Forget that. So data science, not for everybody. Now, I think it's for most of you because you guys have shown the initiative to come and join. And I know some of you participate in the Discord and you come to the Sunday classes. So good for you guys. Keep going. I'm happy to keep doing the content. You guys motivate me. So I'm going to keep going, right? And maybe you'll experience the same thing when you are where I am, right? When you're an advanced data scientist, people are going to come to you and then you're going to see it. Lakshmi, I want to be just like you. Leo, I want to be a great data scientist like you, right? Rex, how do I get to be a data scientist just like you? Okay, go do this work. This is what I did. Go and do that. And then you never hear from that person again, right? Not for everybody. Sam says, thank you so much, Dennis, for the words. I'm trying, Sam, Sometimes I feel like I'm just some crazy guy talking into a microphone, but I'm trying. Leo says, I was up at 3:30 a.m. scraping financial data. It's not for everyone. Yeah, it's not for everyone. So good on you, Leo, for putting in the work, right? But you guys might come across that in your lives, right? Like, people will show more enthusiasm than they will the willingness to work, right? It happens. To some part, it's human nature. And I get that, right? But, like, are you going to tell me you're serious or are you going to show me you're serious? Like, eventually you guys will have to develop that attitude because, you got to judge people by their actions, right? So that's why I'm grateful for you guys being here, right? You guys are showing your actions, coming regularly, asking great questions, right? So good for you guys. Really proud of you guys. But it's not always going to be that way with the people that you come across in your life. And that's okay. Michael says, what are plans for Sundays going forward? Yeah, Michael, great question. So it's always going to be a longer tutorial on Sundays. So here's what we're doing, Michael. Tomorrow, we are going to be looking at Keras and Keras. Keras versus Keras tomorrow. As Lakshmi correctly pointed out. Thank you, Lakshmi. So that'll be fun. But then starting next Sunday, I'm going to start a long series where all of us are going to do a project from end to end. The entire thing. The discussion, the ideation, the data, the scrum planning, the data, everything. I'm gonna tell you how I run stakeholder meetings. I'm gonna tell you how we come up with ideas. I'm gonna teach you how I learned Agile at IBM. And then, we're gonna go into the coding, the modeling, all of that stuff. So in my mind, it's gonna be like a multi-part series. Maybe like 10 weeks, I don't know. But that's what we're going to be doing, Michael. So thanks for asking. I think it's what we're going to be doing. But tomorrow we're going to do Keras versus Keras. And then I'm going to start that series because you're not the first person to ask, Michael. I think Silly Caddy also asked. So I'm going to get my act together on that this week. I'm going to put it all together. And we're just going to do it. Right? I'm going to show you guys how, we used to do it at IBM and other places I worked and stuff like that. So yeah. Yeah, Sam, if you want to see Keras, which is really the only framework that matters. You should come tomorrow. We're going to be doing that tomorrow, 1500 GMT, so same time as this stream. And yeah, and we're gonna see where we can go with that. Okay. Leo says nice. Yeah, I think it'll be fun, Leo. You know, it'll be like a long extended series. I think I have most parts broken out. I don't know. But yeah, you know. You know, like to a certain degree, guys, I love being spontaneous. Like that's why I do these things, right? Yeah, you know. Nice. I'm here for it all, Sir Mentor. Thank you. I appreciate that, Michael. Appreciate your enthusiasm and your support. And also, I still haven't seen the video on your day in the life as a data scientist. Are you guys really interested in that? Look, okay, guys, give me a 1 in the chat if you want a day in the life video. Give me a 0 if you don't want that. Because I don't know, like my life's not that interesting, guys. Like, do you really want me taking a picture at 4 a.m. at the dog park? Like that's what I do. Like I'm not an interesting person, guys. Michael wants to see Dennis play the influencer. I support it. Morning coffee, gym, and dinner. I guess I'm just not that interesting. But guys, give me a 1 if you want the day in the life. Give me a 0 if you're like, eh. And you're not gonna offend me if you want. I want the 0s in the chat because I don't want to. I'm not sure if I'm just not interesting, guys. At least I don't view myself that way. No, you know what I do want to do for you guys? So I do want to do like an office setup so you guys can understand like where I'm streaming from, you know, because I have my monitors, I have my water, I have my little trusty Mac, I have my lights, but mostly I have my big old toolbox right here. I have a massive toolbox, like it's like right off camera over here. So yeah, I just see Lakshmi saving me again. She put a 0. Okay, guys, Lakshmi voted 0. No more video. The voting's closed. Voting's closed. It's been decided. Lakshmi said 0, so thank you, Lakshmi. All right, guys. So tomorrow, 1500 GMT, longer tutorial. But yeah, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate all of you. Yeah, so as always, you know, lots of craziness in the world. So please take care of yourselves and take care of your families, and I'll see you next time.